Good evening, guys. Happy 4th, by the way. And tonight's discussion A deals with um here is the here is the title: The Quiet Architecture of a Healthy Mind. Okay? It's a narrative that I wrote for you. So we will discuss this for A. So let's go. Here we go. Brain health rarely announces itself. It does not clamor for attention the way a broken bone or a failing heart does. It is quiet, almost shy, shaping our days from the background. Yet, when you spend enough time with people at the at the edges of life, in hospice rooms, in family meetings, in the soft spaces where truth becomes unavoidable, you begin to understand that brain health is the architecture of identity. It is the scaffolding that holds the self in place. We often describe the brain in mechanical terms. Neurons, neurons firing like neurons firing, circuits connecting, chemicals flowing. But the brain is not a machine. It's a landscape, a memory laden terrain shaped by experience, culture, trauma, hope, and the small rituals that make a life feel like a life. It is the place where meaning is stored and retrieved. And it is far more uh, malleable than we once believed. The old story, decline as destiny. For decades, the detriment narrative of aging was one of inevitable decline. Neurons die, synapses weaken, memory fades, the brain becomes a dimmer version of itself. The story was told with clinical confidence, and families absorbed it with quiet grief. It shaped how clinicians counseled patients, on how systems allocated resources, and how individuals imagined their future. But the old story was incomplete. It missed a it missed the adaptability of the human mind. It missed the role of environment. purpose, and connection. It missed the biology of learning, the fact that every new skill, every new idea, every new conversation leaves a physical imprint on the brain's structure. The old story underestimated us. The new story, a brain that responds. Modern neuroscience has rewritten the narrative. We now know that the brain remains plastic across the lifespan, not just in childhood, not just in early adulthood, but into the 80th, 90th, and even the 20th decade of life. Plasticity is not a metaphor. It is a measurable biological process. Learning reshapes pharmacological pathways, a structural transformation that makes practice literally change the brain's wiring. Literacy reorganizes visual and associative networks, enhancing how we process faces, symbols, and meaning. Aerobic movement stimulates neurogenesis, supporting the birth of new neurons in aging brains. Social connection strengthens networks involved in memory and emotional regulation. Even hormones act as learning switches. Estrogen amplifies dopamine's teaching signals, creating windows of highlighted cognitive efficiency. The brain is not simply aging, it is responding. And that means we can respond to the human face of brain health. A palliative care brain health is not an abstraction, it is a lived reality. It is the difference between a patient who can still tell their daughter they love her and one who cannot find the words. It is the difference between a man who remembers the story of his life and one who feels it's slipping away. It is the difference between presence and absence. I remember a woman with metastatic breast cancer who, instead of reading poetry every morning, Her body was failing, but her mind remained luminous. The words kept me here, she told me. She wasn't talking about cognition. She was talking about identity. I remember a man with heart failure who kept a notebook of every conversation with his grandchildren. I want to remember them as they are, he said. His brain health was not measured in test scores, it was measured in love. These moments are not captured in randomized trials, but they are the outcomes families care about the most. Brain health is not only about preventing decline, it's about preserving selfhood. The system level review. Why leaders must care. For health system executives, brain health is a strategic imperative. Cognitive resilience affects workforce performance, patient outcomes, caregiver burden, and long-term cost. It intersects with literacy, housing, transportation, nutrition, and social connection. The structural determinants that shape whether people can practice the habits that protect their minds. A system that invests in brain health, invests in dignity. A system that prioritizes cognitive resilience, prioritizes humanity. This is not just about preventing dementia. It's about enabling people to live fully, think clearly, and remain themselves. The small habits that change the brain. The most powerful intervention for brain health are deceptively simple. They do not require specialized equipment or elite training. They require intention. A daily walk strengthens vascular pathways and supports neurogenesis. A regular bedtime stabilizes memory, consolidation. A conversation that sparks curiosity reinforces social cognition. A book that sketches the mind recognition. The mind recognizes visual and associative networks. A moment of stillness reduces stress-related cognitive load. A practice of learning something new, not for productivity, but for joy, strengthens thalamus cortical circuits. These habits build cognitive reserve, the brain's ability to withstand change, injury, or disease without losing function. Cognitive reserve is one of the most hopeful concepts in neuroscience. It tells us that the brain can buffer adversity. It tells us that the mind can remain itself even when the body falters. It tells us that the choices we make at 30, 50, or 70 or 90 still matter. This is not about perfection. It is about intention. The deeper truth, brain health is a moral commitment. Brain health is not just a biological state. It is a moral commitment. To ourselves, to our families, to our communities. It is a commitment to staying present, staying curious, staying connected. It is a commitment to preserving the parts of ourselves that make life meaningful. It is also a commitment to equity, because brain health is shaped by access to safe housing, nutritious food, education, transportation, and healthcare. A society that neglects these structures neglects the minds of its people. A society that invests in them invests in the future. The innovation, the science is clear. The brain remains adaptable across the lifespan. The story is clear. People want to stay themselves. The opportunity is clear. We can build environments, routines, and systems that support cognitive well-being at every age. The brain health is not a luxury. It is a foundation. It is the quiet architecture that allows us to think, to feel, to connect, and to live with intention. And it is within reach, not through dramatic reinventions, but through small, daily acts that honor the extraordinary biology of the human mind. Okay, guys, that is the show for today. I will see everybody tomorrow for shows. Until then, everybody have a safe 4th of July. Have a good evening, folks.